Hello, my name is Kristen Baxter, and today I'd like to share a bit about my art practice, my inspiration, and my motivations. I'm a senior drawing and painting major. I work in digital and traditional media, typically oil paintings, digital paintings, printmaking, and sculpture. Today we'll be looking at some prints and digital works. My work is inspired by my experiences as a fat woman of mixed heritage, African American from the South, and Afro-Latina from Panama, Central America. My work mainly consists of the figure and exploring narratives through the use of symbolism, influenced by my experience with the culture, flora, and fauna of the southern United States and Central America. I also use painting as a means to provide representation of larger bodies and women of color, where there is often none in the modern fine art world. These first two pieces are from a series on the idea of native versus invasive species in Florida, and the impacts such conversations have in nature and in our understanding of it. Floridian Fruit is a single-layer relief print depicting the native species of marsh rabbits trying to sustain itself on its main food source of duckweed, but is overwhelmed by the invasive species of Burmese pythons. In actuality, as they are solitary creatures, the likelihood of so many being in one place is low, but for the message of the piece, I wanted the rabbit to be extremely outnumbered, to emphasize the extent of the species' invasiveness and how harmful it impacts our native species populations. Having only black ink and white negative space to work with for a composition produced a slight challenge, but I found using details to connote atmospheric perspective, such as snakes further away having less detail, and the contrast of the white rabbit and the black background provided the impact of invasive versus native. P. rubor is the scientific name of the Floridian flamingo, once thought to be a non-native species, but due to recent studies, now it's understood that the Keys and other southern coastal territories of Florida are their natural homes. The screen print is very saturated, and I achieved this with having a white layer for the flamingo before adding color. I wanted the style to be very reminiscent of American pop art, to literally play on the idea of the flamingo being American. This next piece is a digital diptych that serves as my own style of abstraction and folk art, merging my two identities as a Southerner and Latina. The colors and symbols are inspired by my Panamanian roots, and the creatures are from specific memories I have in visiting Mississippi during the summers to see my relatives. Taking a complex creature and abstracting it well is quite difficult, but I looked to molas, traditional fabric stitching of the Guna people of Panama, to get a sense of how they abstracted in order to come up with my own. The last piece highlights my desire to showcase body types that are not often present in art, at least not in a positive, beautiful way. Fat and Fauna, Pig, is the first part of a series on the idea of fat women being dehumanized as large animals to insult them, but I take this insult and make it beautiful. The style and composition are inspired by Art Nouveau illustrations, a style that is mostly made of very thin, small women fit into perfect frames. I contrast this with my figures, literally bursting out of the frame. This conclusion piece is called Flux. It's a simple animation of a large woman imagining herself in a very southern swamp setting. All the works present are part of a series that I wish to expand and improve upon as I grow in my art style and practice. My art is my way to creatively share my cultural experiences, and I desire to display things not seen as traditionally beautiful, of value, or worthy of being deemed art, as beautiful, of tremendous value, and worth to be seen as art. I paint because I wish to make visible what has historically been condemned as invisible.